Hi, everybody. I'll forget that. Listen, this message is directed to Mick Foley and anyone else out there who believes all that that he's spewing out of his mouth.
Rags to riches, the cost of selling a house. Trying to make a better life, just kick further down south.
Has anyone seen the latest video that Mick Foley's put out? Don't worry, I'll wait. Well, to sum it up, all he does is in another condescending way disrespects our president.
My opinion, history will not treat you kindly.
It disgusts me. The things that this man is saying from the very beginning of his video, it was absolutely atrocious.
And if you are seen zip-tying children and senior citizens, abducting day laborers just looking to do an honest day's work, I don't want to use the word terror, but if people are terrified across wide swaths of the United States, in my opinion, that's terrorism.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Hey, Mick. Hey, followers of Mick who believe all that Obama? Didn't Obama get the Nobel Peace Prize? And what did he do? He got it and the seat wasn't even hot in the White House yet. What was it, the first 8 months he was president? He got the Nobel Peace Prize?
In the Nobel Peace Prize. The decision apparently made just after the president took office. Now let's listen to the president on his thoughts.
After I received the news, Malia walked in and said, Daddy, you won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Obviously, you lean so far to the left, you know you ain't right, Mick. And how can we take you seriously when eyes are declined terribly? The amount of bumps you've taken, the amount of things that I personally witnessed over my lifetime, Undertaker throwing you off of a steel cage, a Hell in a Cell, and you coming back and going through the cage and you had it through your nose, your tooth, all there. You aren't all there. And speaking of the Undertaker, Mick, let's be honest, because this little stunt that you just did, what you did is you hate your own little revenge tour against Trump. That's what you did. You got on the internet to stir people up because you know you're a popular figure. You're an influential figure. I don't need to edit, Mick. I don't do that. You
lying? Yeah.
Mick, like I said, speaking of the Undertaker, aren't you friends with the Undertaker? Isn't the Undertaker pretty good friends with Trump? Couldn't you just get his number from the Undertaker? Couldn't you just somehow, with all your connections, get a hold of Trump if you really wanted to and be a man? You could, but you didn't. You took a coward's way out. For such a man that jumped off of a house onto a box spring, contracting how many different staph infections, to taking so many bumps, to being the nice guy. Didn't Alberto hit you? Anyways.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Cancel that person. Let's put them on trial. Let's screw with them. And it's just like it's never been this way.
Well, and actually, if you really want to be intellectually honest and think about it, and I just thought about it right now, it started with, the first time I remember hearing about it was with Obama. When he first came in, the CIA was going to investigate Bush to see whether or not he tortured people with the waterboarding. And then there's all this big thing about whether or not, Bush was committing war crimes. And then all of a sudden you had the Lois Lerner IRS thing. And then you had the Patriots, all the people, and you had the federal government who was tapping James Rosen, a Fox News person. And then you had all this stuff that was happening during that administration, which it includes the Comey stuff. Comey was the FBI director under Obama. And so if you look at what I think the problem is, honestly,
Comey.
I don't think it's political.
Comey.
I think it's the deep state, the people that were working within the alphabet soup, the CIA, the FBI, that were career politicians that worked there, that thought that they were beyond the law, and they thought they're the fourth arm of government, and screw what the people say. We're going to do what we think is best for the country because we're the real patriots.
Yep.
And I think that's the problem.
Yep.
Go ahead, buddy. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, is that what? Was that Dan talking there?
No, that was
talking
Jay.
about how they're.
That was Jay. That was Jay.
Oh, Jay. Hey, Jay. Hey, I agree with you 100%, brother. It's totally deep state on that. And I got a question. So, why didn't they charge the appraiser with the fraud as far as Trump goes? Because the appraiser is the one that valued the house and the property.
That's an interesting question.
Well, and all Trump did was sign it. You also have, advice of counsel or advice of accountant. I mean, when your accountant prepares something for you and you sign it, I don't know exactly what I know. I know that I hire a fiduciary that has a duty to me to do things correctly. And when they put it in front of me, I sign it because that's been done correctly. So I imagine when you have a ginormous company like the Trump Corporation, things are put in front of you, just sign them.
Yeah, 100% on that. And that's what you pay them for. So, and who was the victim? Are they trying to say that the banks were the victim? Is that what we're supposed to believe? Because Trump paid everyone back?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know who was the victim. I just know. Did they end up getting him on that? Was that where the 34 came from?
No, this was the civil one where the victim was supposedly New York State, and they originally tried to take like $400 million, and then they reduced it to like 175, and it's still on appeal.
And then
and took his business license, right?
Yeah, business license. And junior can't either have a license in New York.
Can you imagine that? So they took his business license, they took him off the ballot, they tried to throw him in jail, they had 4 criminal trials against him, they had a civil case against him. I mean, he was literally taken off the ballot. It's unbelievable how many times he had to go to the Supreme Court and have the Supreme Court keep the states in step so that he could just be on the ballot. It's really the most impressive political thing, whether you're for him or against him, to see the will that man had. It's incredible.
Appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you. I know you're going to go for a long time. I had to let you go. Sorry.
And you prey upon the weak-minded, the easily influenced people, which are what? The wrestling fans, which are what? Mainly liberal. Why? You know why. So all those miles you got under your belt, you should have taken a little more time to learn a little bit more. A little more time to do is he did stop about, 7 wars so far? And I was a big supporter of the guy. I'm not too happy with him now. I still want those damn files. Big guy, get the files released. Get the Epstein stuff released. It's hard for us to support you, bud. I'm talking to you, Trump. But as in you, Mick, I'd like to take a look, watch your stupid video, and see whatever everyone else has to say.
Mr. President, my name is Mick Foley. We've only met once. We are both members of the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2013. We had a very short conversation where you told me it was an excellent speech. Your 2 sons next to you, 2 or 3. And I said, thank you, Mr. Trump. But since then, I've become a fairly constant critic, and I think I've had good reason to do that. But I believe if I'm going to have any credibility as a critic, I have to be willing to give credit where it's due, and you are due a lot of credit. I believe I'm going to be excoriated by people from the left and the right alike, but I have to take the chance. I want to make it a point. This is not a joke. I'm not out here to sling one-liners at you, to call you names. I'm here to appeal to you as a human being, because only you can stop the madness that's going on in our country. I believe you are due a lot of credit when it comes to the Gaza ceasefire and peace plan. You deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. It's yours if you can stop the madness in this country, because you will not be given the Nobel Peace Prize if you are seen as inciting tension, terror, and if you are seen zip-tying children and senior citizens, abducting day laborers just looking to do an honest day's work. I don't want to use the word terror, but if people are terrified across wide swaths of the United States, In my opinion, that's terrorism.
But we can't have it both ways. You heard him at first talk about how Trump deserves the Peace Prize, right? And then in the end of it, he says, hey, you're inciting terror. Which is it? How much of this stuff can we truly believe from this guy? Seriously.
You, Mr. President, and your communications director, Stephen Chung. Stephen Chung, I know you're good with the one-liners. Let's face it, you got a lot to work with. You're the missing ear, missing teeth. Now, I know that you are a wrestling historian. And like you, I was the fat kid in school who grew up to be the fat guy. We both know what it was like to be teased on the playground as children. But I don't know what it was like to be you as a first-generation Chinese American. I imagine you went through some pretty tough stuff, but now you've become the bully that you used to despise. I'm 60 years old. I'm old enough to remember my parents driving me to JFK Airport to see the POWs from the Vietnam War come home because my father, as a basketball coach, had coached Tiger Turner. Now, with all credit and admiration to those who protested the Vietnam War, many of whom cut their hair and became conservatives, that's not what turned the tide at home. What turned the tide is when the boys from the neighborhood started coming home in boxes. All of a sudden, it wasn't about a war over there. It wasn't a situation with them. It became a situation about us. It hit home to me because as of now, I know someone who has been affected. Not going to name names, but he's a big dude, tough dude, strong dude, married into an immigrant family. He came home to find that his mother-in-law was gone, taken off the street, deported. His father-in-law gone in about 5 days' time. He was told, do not post this on social media or we will go after your wife even quicker and deport her, despite the fact she's been in this country since he was 1 year old. They pay their taxes, not so much as a speeding ticket. They're active in their local community and their church. And despite that, their lives are shattered. Now, Mr. President, we're at a crossroads where it seems one of two things can happen.
You know, all this could have been prevented with your friend or your family member, Mick, if we just would have had our paperwork right to begin with. So, it's not Trump's problem. It's your guys' problem. Follow the rules. Do it the right way. Do it the legal way. And you have nothing to worry about, people. But if you don't have your green card, you're out. And there is nothing you can say about that. Now, can you dig that? You bunch of suckers.
It appears to me as if you're trying to consolidate power, perhaps turn our country into something of an autocracy. You get to be the hero. But if that does not happen, in my opinion, as someone who's worked in 50 states, 37 countries, been around the world a bunch of times, including 2 million miles in an automobile, in my opinion, history will not treat you kindly. But you and you alone have the ability to diffuse the tension, to stop the madness, to halt the terror. You, Mr. President, and you alone have the ability. The buck stops with you. Mr. President, I want to make it clear, this is something I'm doing on my own. I'm in a rented Airbnb in Nashville. There's no notes in front of me. There's no teleprompter. This is just me looking at the camera, speaking from my heart to you, a fellow human being, a fellow 2013 WWE Hall of Fame, have the power to stop the madness. Thank you for watching, Mr. President. Thank you for listening. Thank you to whoever it was that brought this piece of video to your attention, because I know you're a very busy man. I don't believe it's going to make a difference, but I would love it if you would prove me wrong.
They call me a punk, 'cause I'm the best in the world. Hitting them with the doomsday, making them curl. Put them in a chin lock just to make the neck beards mad. Have the panties in the upper sounding like Johnny B. Bad. I put a hood on my head like El Gringo did. You put plastic on his head, you almost killed that kid. Mike Martin Podcast, keeping it real. Subscribe to this stuff if you feel like I feel.